Welcome to the Qwoted podcast. Never heard of it? Well, now you have. This is our very first episode. I'm your host, Lou Carlozo, Qwoted's editor-in-chief. That is short for chief cook and bottle washer. And in the weeks and months, we will be presenting insights and stories from the many people within Qwoted's ecosystem. That includes reporters, PRs, promoters, and those behind the scenes who make things happen in the world of media, public relations, and marketing. Speaking of the category of behind the scenes, it is my pleasure to welcome to the show the one and only Kelly Jura. Kelly is the director of customer experience at Qwoted, in that role since December. Kelly leads the creation of Qwoted's user-centric experiences. She ensures seamless product journeys for enhanced customer satisfaction. She also collaborates across departments to embed high-quality user experience and customer experience at the heart of product development. And this is really important. She'll also appear at the Women in Tech Global Conference on May 25th with our own Shelby Bridges, the director of customer success at Qwoted. And they'll be anchoring the presentation, Elevate Your Voice, Finding Opportunities to Get Media Coverage. Kelly, welcome to the Qwoted podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here, Lou.
Fabulous. And we'll give a brief gloss of your experience and your title. I'm sure I left some things out, and I would love it if you could just tell me and the audience a bit about yourself and what got you to where you are now.
Sure. I am Kelly Jura. For anyone who might benefit from an audio description, I am 5'1". I have blonde hair and blue eyes. I'm wearing a blue shirt and a navy blazer. I am the director of user experience and customer experience for Qwoted. I have spent the last 20 years of my career really passionate about the way people interact with ideas. I started my career in advertising. I moved into brand and marketing strategy. And then I made the kind of natural transition into technology, where I've been leading user experience design and research teams and scaling product functions within tech companies.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Actually, before I joined Qwoted in December of last year, I was a Qwoted user for the previous year and a half at my previous company, and I really was excited about the opportunity to contribute to the platform.
Yeah, talk about being indoctrinated. I was a Qwoted beta tester, and I'll never forget the call I got from Matt Neller, and he just introduced himself cold, and I'm in the middle of a deadline. And the first thing I say is, look, I use brand X. Why would I ever go to the service I've never heard of? And I indicated a willingness to try with a very short tolerance for any kind of boo-boos. And Matt would keep calling me every week, every other week. What are you working on, Lou? Can I help you with anything? You on any deadlines? And I was blown away. I became a convert within a month. And so when they asked me about editor-in-chief, it was a no-brainer. I was an early fan evangelist. I guess they just have a way of taking people like us and absorbing us into the ecosystem. Now, on the subject of branding, marketing, and in particular, the transition into technology you indicated, I've always been baffled by the jargon, and I think every profession has its jargon. So for example, I'm an audio engineer, right? And there's actually terms like nanowebers per meter, and don't ask me what that means. I don't exactly know. UX and CX, like when I hear those terms, it leaves me cold. Like, what is CX? Why do we have to use an X? Why is it some sort of code we have to break through? And okay, CX stands for customer experience. Well, duh, isn't customer experience like, oh, I walk into a store and I buy a hammer and they say thank you? I know there's more to it to that than meets the eye, and also that there's something really important going on. And this is for my benefit as much as anyone else's. Explain to me what UX are, what CX are, and why it's so important, why we even should care.
Sure. So I've had a range of titles. I would say in the past decade, there's been this kind of industry trend to specialization. And I've never really been in that camp. I am, as I said earlier, really passionate about the way people experience ideas, and that is across channels. It is not specific to digital. I am all about the user experience and the customer experience as it relates to brand, as it relates to digital products, as it relates to the human touch that comes with interacting with a company. So, from a user experience standpoint, I look at how people interact with a company or a brand at every single touch point across the user journey. I think what's really important as it relates to user experience leadership and customer experience leadership is having someone within the company that really advocates on behalf of users. So, my role is to advocate on behalf of what users need, to eliminate frustrations, to help people achieve their goals. I often work with the leadership within a company, I do this within Qwoted, working with our leadership team to really marry our business goals with our user needs and then translating those to our tech teams to actually make things actionable so that we can improve our product, so we can make our product more helpful, help our end users with their workflows, help them achieve their goals at every step of the journey.
Wow. You're really building a bridge there between every constituency that matters. On the positive side, I also like to refer to UX as understand experience that involves working with the people who will ultimately use the product. But as you mentioned, people within Qwoted, people within any organization. I wonder if you could walk me through how you see UX as transformative, especially when it comes to understanding how the platform is used and how to tilt everything in the right direction.
Right. So I have come across technology in the world, and I'm sure we all have, that is really interesting. It's very cool, but it doesn't really help fulfill these user needs, and it's just not adopted. People don't use it. If it's not useful and it's not helping someone achieve their goals, it's not going to be adopted. It's not going to be used. It's not a sustainable business to have technology that's simply cool. It really is about understanding the user needs, both their spoken and unspoken behaviors. So things that they tell me, hey, I don't like this, or I really like this. I wish that you had this. Really empathizing and listening actively to what they're telling us, but also the things that they're not telling us. Just being able to dive into the data and understand how people are using beyond what they're saying, being able to observe. And it really takes kind of this investigation and this willingness to actively participate in the user journey, again, at every single touch point, and help eliminate any of those friction points that get in the way of a user trying to achieve their goal with Qwoted or with a technology platform.
That is fascinating to me because it would make sense to analyze, on the one hand, what users are telling you and how they are behaving in a very transparent way, but to take a look at what the user isn't even telling you, or this thing that they know that they need but can't express it. I'm amazed you can even do that kind of work. Wow.
I really love it. I always say when I'm talking to young people about what I do that I solve puzzles every day and I look forward to it every day. I really try to uncover these insights, and then put them in to kind of this conversation with our team so we can understand those insights and make them actionable so that we can produce a product that really resonates with our users and our potential users.
You got a favorite puzzle game?
I have many, but I was always the kid who was taking things apart and putting things back together. When I was a child, I actually had a bunch of circuit boards and I would try to, make the light bulb light up if, certain, things were happening, temperature or light sensors or these other things. So I really kind of translated that with a little bit of creativity into my full-time career of being able to really uncover and diagnose and investigate these things that are happening within systems and trying to get to this end result where you have people who are advocating and people who are adopting your product and becoming fans. I mean, I
Wow.
think that's the goal.
I love it. You tracing this childhood passion into what you do every day for Quoted. And that is so much a sign that a person is exactly where they need to be. File this one under no duh, right? When I was a kid, my favorite game was Scrabble. So
I love
I was
that.
always playing with words, and I would actually read the dictionary to try to find two-letter words so that I could use my last tile up. But when we shifting gears here, when we talk about what goes into making a product and making it successful and making it helpful, that has to be, to my thinking, harder than it seems, right? There is this delicious sausage, but then a lot of sausage making that goes on behind the scenes that people don't exactly appreciate. This quest to meet and exceed expectations, to my mind, and by the way, this is a term I love, involves journey mapping as well as touch points. Maybe you can unlock that a bit and help everybody listening to get a good glimpse of what is involved with the journey mapping, what is involved with the touch points, and ultimately how you know you have met and even exceeded expectations with Quoted.
Yeah, absolutely. Journey mapping is one of my favorite activities. I think it's a great opportunity to think about things from the perspective of a person interacting with your company. And anybody can do this. There's a lot of protectiveness that sometimes comes when you have this specialty. I'm a user experience person and I can do journey mapping. And that's
Mm.
simply not true. We can all do this. We can all think through all of the touch points that happen throughout these stages of a person's life cycle as it relates to your company. So before they're a member of your website, for instance, what are they seeing? Are they seeing advertising? Are they seeing, are they hearing referrals from people? All of those things that happen before someone is actually a member of your site or comes to your website, for instance, really shape our perceptions around what the experience is going to be. So that is hugely important. A lot of the time when we think about user experience, we think so narrowly about a digital product, but so much goes into shaping our experience that's outside of that product. So thinking through what happens before they sign up, what happens when they're in onboarding. I mean, how many times have we reached out to customer support, for instance, reached out to a human, and we've been disappointed because that doesn't match our expectations of that company based on our other experiences. That's important too. So being able to go through and think through all of these different touch points, whether it's advertising, whether it's customer support, email communications, social, you think about the times when you have this wonderful experience with a company and then they put out an insensitive or tone deaf tweet or
Mm.
something on social media that doesn't match my expectations. That's a disappointment. All of those touch points are really this opportunity to meet or exceed expectations for that user or uncover these points of friction. So that's really when it comes to journey mapping, you're looking to uncover these little friction points. And then you start thinking, okay, well, how could we make that a better experience? Is it a communication problem? Is it a problem with the platform itself? Is this an onboarding problem with our own employees? Could we be doing something to provide them with additional resources, education, things like that, so that they can better support our customers' needs. So it's really thinking through all of those different touch points, the human, the marketing, the platform itself, and being able to think through, we call them moments that matter or moments of truth, where these are the really important things that happen in that journey that really make or break the experience. So, in the example of customer support is a really great opportunity to meet the user's needs, to potentially exceed the user's needs, and turn them into a really loyal person. Somebody who's going out advocating, saying, wow, I just had this really great experience. There are reasons why companies really try to go above and beyond when it comes to service, because that's how you build loyalty. On the flip side of things, there are definitely times when you reach out to customer support, for instance, and you just have a terrible experience. And those experiences these days can really be amplified. People go on LinkedIn and say, I just had this terrible experience, or they go on Facebook and they share those experiences, right? So those are really the important moments to really think through how people are interacting with your company and their mindset, their feelings, their emotions when they're reaching out to your company. When they're coming through the onboarding, are they excited to get started? We want to drop them right into the experience so they can experience it right away. When they're reaching out to support, perhaps they're frustrated. They've already gone through all the steps that they know to go through to solve this problem. They're reaching out. They're, phoning a friend to be able to figure out how to solve this problem. So really understanding where people are in the journey, their emotions, their goals at every point of this journey, and helping solve problems that they might encounter so that they become, advocates and loyal users for platforms.
That is fascinating. And in particular, you mentioned these little friction points. And I think we've all had these experiences. I know I've had them where there's one little bump in the road. Maybe, for example, you receive a product in the mail and it's not quite right, and you contact customer service. And I've had those experiences where they'll say, oh, Mr. Carlozo, I'm so sorry, send it back. What can we do for you? Here's an extra premium. And I've actually had instances where companies refuse to refund my money. You're past the 30-day return point, like by 15 minutes, or they're just obviously reading off of a script. And my thought, and I'm not trying to sound difficult, hopefully I don't, but I think a lot of people think this way too, is, well, you've just lost my business. Why would I ever come back to you again if you're treating a friction point as an opportunity for you to get one over on the customer? And I know Qwoted does things in quite the opposite way. I would be fascinated to hear an example, whether it's real or just theoretical, of a friction point that's really common in the customer journey and how you would go about trying to solve that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I will just say it's really important to get everyone in the room to understand the journey and how their role as part of the company really impacts that end user experience. If you have people at your company who are like, I'm just closing out support tickets, that's a very different experience for the end user versus somebody who says, I am speaking on behalf of this company. And I think Qwoted does this incredibly well. We have people on our team who are just really passionate about empowering this storytelling and this matching of, media people who are trying to cover a subject. And we have these subject matter experts. We have these people with these stories that really should be told, right? And these connections that happen that otherwise wouldn't have happened without the platform, without that community. So, bringing people together, again, I say journey mapping shouldn't be this really um, you know, precious thing. This is something that's iterative. This is something that people should be working through constantly. We should be looking at, we should be using data to support what we're presenting and thinking through. And again, as part of even employee onboarding, letting people know about the end users, giving them insights into who we're helping, how our individual roles help them achieve their goals. I think that's tremendously important, and including kind of the brand and the messaging and the framework and how we represent our company, how we talk about our company, and how we connect with end users really becomes so important for every single person within a company to be able to achieve our goals as a company and help our users achieve their goals.
Fabulous, fabulous. And it makes me think when you talk about journey mapping, there is this saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And I'm going to speak to a weakness that I have, maybe a lot of journalists have it as well, is the hardest part for me with anything is getting started. Sometimes it's this hidden fear. Sometimes it's this resistance to change. Sometimes it's the idea that, oh, I've got to fold this new thing into my life. And no matter how great I think it's going to be, I just don't know if I'm comfortable doing something new. With that first step in the journey, what do you see as some points of wisdom to get a person from, I'm not doing this, to now I'm in the ecosystem and I've overcome my fear. I feel comfortable. I can begin.
Yeah, from a Qwoted perspective, if you have a story to tell, you have expertise, join the platform. There are opportunities out there to connect you with podcasters, broadcast media, online blogs, things like that, that are highlighting stories that really could use your expertise. From a user experience standpoint, if you are somebody who's working for a company that you think there's an opportunity to think through the user experience, start today. If you're thinking about it, it's time to start, investing in it, connecting with end users, actually talk to people, dive into any information that you have available. Jump into the support tickets, understand what people are talking about, go onto social, understand how people are referring to your company. All of that is really shaping the perception for other people coming into your network. If people are speaking so highly about your company, all of the people who are coming in through that path have these expectations that you are going to just knock their socks off. So really getting out there, actively listening to what people are saying, try to uncover those insights, think through every touch point. From a user experience standpoint, every opportunity could be this chance to really improve and convert people into advocates for your brand and your business.
And speaking of improvement and conversion and excitement, Qwoted's got like all of this cool stuff going on, new things that we're going to see. I am wondering if you can give us a peek under the hood. What's coming up?
So we have a number of things that are really exciting. We do have this new beta notification system. So we're providing these really timely, relevant notifications for opportunities that are good for you specifically. So if you are, again, an expert, you're looking to get involved, you're looking to get thought leadership or publicity for your small business, for yourself, we are in the process of really matching people very closely with opportunities that are right in their wheelhouse. We also are actively meeting with our media users, our experts, our PRs to really improve the experience. This is something that we are actively doing every day. We are diving into the details. These are the things that are keeping me up at night. I am excited to improve this experience for people on the platform. As a Qwoted user myself for the past, year and a half, I was able to kind of see that expert side of things and be able to bring ideas day one on how to improve that experience. And we have just these really dedicated media users as well, these journalists, these podcasters, these broadcast media users, these bookers who are bringing these really excellent ideas. They're passionate. They are looking to share stories. They're looking to tap into the community to really uncover these really great story ideas and put them out to the world. So we are getting tremendous feedback. I find myself to be, feeling tremendously grateful for the amount of information that's been shared, the amount of insights and ideas that are out there. And, we really do have this team that's passionate about this community of storytellers, people who otherwise just they wouldn't have met without Quoted. And I think that's really quite incredible. It's really this influential place where people can meet and share stories and get them out in the world. I think that's really a pretty phenomenal goal to be able to unite those people. So, we do have a number of things that are coming. I would say be on the lookout in the next few months. We are actively making updates. Our development team is excited to be getting a number of these things out in the network, and we can't wait to hear what you think about them.
Absolutely. And it all began, it sounded like to me, with circuit boards. It has now progressed to these things that keep you up at night in a great way. You're excited. As we ride off into the sunset here, I'd love to ask you, if it's okay, a somewhat personal question. What do you find to be the most exciting thing about what it is you're doing, particularly right now in the context of all the new stuff that's happening and your passion for journey mapping, all of the things we've talked about? What's the most exciting part of the job for you?
Meeting with our users. We really do have a passionate group of users, whether they're journalists and they're trying to publish pieces that really move the world. We're at an interesting time as it relates to journalism and storytelling, and being able to support people in publishing stories that matter in the world is really exciting to me. Being able to meet with our experts and our PRs that are connecting people for this shared storytelling, this collaborative approach to getting news out in the world is it really is exciting. It's something that um, you know, I'm very passionate about. Again, my whole career has been around the way people experience ideas. And I think, Quoted is more important and more needed than ever in 2025. And I look forward to growing with Quoted. I look forward to growing our team, growing our insights, and really connecting with our users.
It's all about the growth and it's all about the connection. Kelly, this has been a fabulous episode for me. I've learned a lot about Qwoted, and I've been involved for a long time, but thank you for the insights and for sharing all of this information with the audience. Fabulous to have you on the Qwoted podcast.
Thanks so much for having me.
Kelly Jura is the Director of Customer Experience at Qwoted. She is located a stone's throw from Qwoted HQ in Manhattan. Be sure to look for Kelly on LinkedIn. So with that, thanks for tuning in to episode 1 of the Qwoted podcast. Be sure to tune in to future episodes and episodes that we will be stockpiling in our podcast vault. Special thanks to the team in Chicago, Jet and Jaycott and Alex Leon, and to all at Qwoted HQ in New York, including our esteemed co-founders, Dan, Simon, and Matt Neller. For all of us at Qwoted, I'm Lou Carlozo, your host, Qwoted's editor-in-chief, and a relentless positivist. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay connected. So long.